What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is a show where we take all of your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a very interesting show today. Kind of like last week's episode, which we had so much fun, and I can't do this by myself. This is definitely going to be a regular thing. I have to introduce my amazing co-host, Jeremy Branch. How are you doing today, Jeremy?
What is up, man? What's up, you guys? Glad to be back. And yeah, we have some fun questions to talk about today. So I'm looking forward to one of them in particular, but we'll get there.
Yeah, man. This has been fun. I'm glad that you guys keep coming back and watching these episodes and getting your feedback. We have substantially grown since we continue to do things like this. So I want to personally thank you guys. And if this is your first time ever watching any of our content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications of every time we're releasing a video here on our channel. And also, guys, if you want your question or topic on this show, go ahead and send me an email at theaskalexshow@gmail.com. That's theaskalexshow@gmail.com. If you leave me your topic or question, it can potentially be on this show. We're in quarantine now. We have nothing but time, guys. So send me your questions. Be more than happy to answer them here on today's show. Now today, like I said, we have a jam-packed show. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question. And the first question comes from a Michael King. And he writes, "Hey Alex, it's been reported that Disney Plus has hit over 50 million subscribers in the 5 months of its run. I've heard you say that Disney Plus, if Disney Plus is done right, it could probably take over Netflix. Do you think Disney Plus will take over the streaming service industry?" Well, thank you for your question, Michael. So me and Jeremy have talked about this before, like way before it was going to launch. And I've said, we were actually part of a group meeting, and we had a huge discussion about it. And I said, and I'll go back to it, I said that if you give Disney 5 to 10 years, Disney has the potential of surpassing Netflix and being on top of the streaming industry game. I've also said that Disney, if you look at Disney as a whole, they're leading in, like, they're not the biggest media company compared to Warner Brothers, but they own theme parks. They're a big company in that. They own a lot of TV and movies. They own a lot of other things within the industry of making content for others. So when you look at them releasing a streaming service, I already knew, just like I'm sure you guys knew, like I'm sure Jeremy knew, that this thing was going to be successful. Now keep in mind, Disney Plus has only been out for 5 months, and remember, the very first day it hit 10 million subscribers. That was day one. Now we're at month 5, and it's at 50 million, a little over 50 million subscribers. Now, right now to date, Netflix has over 160 million subscribers, and they still keep putting out great content. I'm a Netflix advocate, just like I'm a streaming service advocate as well. My thing is with Disney Plus, though, granted, if you are a fan of the original content they put out and also their Disney Channel stuff and all the other stuff they put out, there's some good content on Disney Plus. However, I've also argued and said that Disney Plus needs to start ramping up more original content to get people to come back to. Like, The Mandalorian was just a start. We still haven't gotten Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet. We still haven't got all the other Marvel stuff yet. We still haven't even got all the other Star Wars stuff yet and all the other Pixar stuff that they're going to do. So keep this in mind that yes, Disney Plus is on a great wave right now, and mind you, they have more subscribers than CBS All Access, Hulu, and HBO Go. So they're right there. They're getting there. So, but at the end of the day, I do think if by the end of this year they may hit 70 million, maybe 80 million, they probably in the next 2 to 3 years may hit 150 to 160 million. Who knows? But I do think Disney Plus, if they continue to do it right like they've been doing, they have the potential of surpassing Netflix and being on top. But what do you think, Jeremy? Do you think Disney Plus has the potential with this current wave that they're on to be on top of the streaming service industry?
I think it's a really interesting question to look at it, because as you had mentioned, they hit 10 million within X amount of days, and if they would have maintained that trajectory, then in 5 days they would have had 50 million subscribers. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's slowed down, right? So we're at 50 million plus at about 5 months. Now, I don't have any of the exact figures in front of me, but I do believe approximately 8 million of those subscribers are from India. So, and that number it's staggering. It is absolutely like a massive achievement in itself. If they never end up on top of Netflix, what they've done is still, I mean, it's nothing to write off. This is a major player in the streaming wars and all of that kind of stuff. I have a difficult time saying for sure if it will be able to beat Netflix. And the reason why I mentioned, the exponential growth of it at first is at some point there's going to be a cap, right? Like everybody that wants Disney Plus is going to have Disney Plus, or everybody that wants Netflix is going to have Netflix. You raise an interesting point, though, is that maybe the first wave of people were the diehard Star Wars fans and the legacy Disney fans, the people like ourselves that grew up watching and consuming this content. Maybe there are a couple of million people out there that are waiting for the new Marvel series to drop, so maybe there's going to be another really big pop once the next wave of original programming is launched over at Disney. I feel that there is not a very good chance of Disney ever surpassing Netflix. And I mean, I'd actually like to get your take on this, but while there is children's programming on Netflix, there is no adult programming per se on Disney. So how do we reconcile that? Do you think that because everything is so specifically for a family audience at Disney that it's going to miss out on the potential subscribers who do want something more aimed at adult audiences?
So I think that, and so like to your point with Netflix has, like you said, mostly a wide variety of programming, a lot of stuff geared towards adults, then young adults, and then teenagers, and then kids. They have like a lot of cool stuff. I know, like with my daughter, she watches like Word Party on Netflix, and then on Netflix, we just watched, I think it was called the movie Players Club on Netflix that I can't find on Disney Plus. So I think Disney will have to continue building up, like for instance, prime example, if you're going to do your Marvel stuff, don't let it be so spaced out where we're, like for instance, if you're going to release Falcon and the Winter Soldier in August, then probably in September or mid-September when Falcon and Winter Soldier is done, we should get WandaVision.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, it should be a repeating cycle. Now, although those shows are, you could arguably say the Marvel Cinematic Universe is made for families, but we do know that most of those movies have a lot of adult themes in them. You can say that Disney can play with that. Now, granted, I think that Disney Plus is solely for families, but that's why they have Hulu as well. They can say, okay, we can make all of our adult content, like say if they want a Punisher series, put it on Hulu. Don't put it on Disney Plus because you can't. I don't think you can safeguard Punisher on Disney Plus. You just can't. That's why on Netflix it was so great, in my opinion. But do I think Disney Plus will surpass Netflix? The only way that would happen, in my humble opinion, is if they figure out a formula where they're cranking out Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar content consistently.
Yeah.
Like literally where it's a cycle where you're just grabbing new viewers each and every month while still maintaining your family values. Now, do I think it's going to happen overnight? No, I still will give it about 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, sure.
But with Disney Plus, you can't reconcile. I don't think you can honestly reconcile the fact that there isn't really that much adult content on Disney Plus. Like, there are hardly any cuss words, any smoking or adult themes, no sex, nothing like that. Exactly. So, I mean, that's my thought on that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I 100% see where you're coming from. And I do feel like looking at the long game, you have to really question how long can Netflix stay on top? Because there's also the distinct possibility that mom and dad are going to get Disney for the family and still keep Netflix. Maybe these are going to be the two like essential streaming platforms that people have to have in their household. I could very much see that being the case. I did want to mention the reason why I brought up the 8 million subscribers in India is because that is a staggering number. However, I'm sure that not a lot of you are aware that they offer a different streaming service called Hotstar over in that region of Asia. And Hotstar is an annual subscription. You're going to pay just over $5 for a year-long subscription to the Marvel movies, as well as a lot of Bollywood films and a lot of Disney's back catalog. However, if you want to get the exclusive Disney Plus and the original programming from Disney Plus, you're looking at about $20 a year. Yeah. So my question, I suppose, is what's more important, subscriber count or profitability? Because if you're charging $15 a month for Netflix per household versus $15 a year for Disney Plus, obviously you're going to have to realize that the subscribers in India are not worth the same amount as the subscribers in America, just from a fiscal perspective, you know?
And that's actually a good point, because like in other countries, they do their streaming platforms a whole lot different in the U.S. So, you know, Jeremy raises a good point. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Disney Plus will surpass any streaming services? Do you think they'll be on top of the streaming service game? Do you think they may surpass Netflix? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from a Kenny Blankenship. And he writes, "Hey Alex, I've heard multiple people say that WB will recast Ezra Miller because what he did in Iceland. Do you think that it's a wise decision for WB to recast him for what he did?" Thank you for your question, Kenny. Now, on my particular channel, I potentially try to stay away from like the drama stuff and try to focus on what's going on pop culture and movies. In this particular instance, I'm willing to make an exception because this has to do with movies. Now, if you guys don't know, real quick recap. Ezra Miller was caught outside of a bar in Iceland choking a young woman. I personally do not condone violence of any kind, especially against a woman. I don't know how Ezra Miller was brought up. I don't know him personally. Never met him. Never spoke with any of his representation. But I can tell you that I feel as though, as a man, he handled that situation wrong. If I'm Warner Brothers, this is just me. If I'm Warner Brothers, I would put out a statement saying how they're going to go forward. Keep in mind, Ezra Miller and his camp have not said anything. But if I'm Warner Brothers, I'd put a statement basically saying we do not condone violence of any kind, especially towards women. And we are rethinking Ezra Miller's representation with us. I also want to keep this in mind, guys. Now, again, I'm not advocating this. Robert Downey Jr., RDJ, had some ish in his closet too. And now he overcame it. And he's one of the greatest actors in our MCU / movie world, outside of the MCU as well. You can overcome shortcomings. That doesn't mean I think that we should definitely rehabilitate and give people second chances. However, I'm a firm believer in consequences for your actions. So if I'm a movie studio, and mind you, Ezra Miller's not just playing the Flash, he's also in the Harry Potter series as well. So that's up for debate as well. If I'm Warner Brothers, I would rethink Ezra Miller's employment for those projects for right now. That's what I would do. But what would you do in this situation, Jeremy?
Thank you for this question. This is the reason. I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, man, do I want to Ask Alex today? Oh, we're going to talk about Ezra Miller bodying that chick in a video. What was that, dude? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Yeah, obviously you can't do that. You can't. it's so wrong to do in a vacuum, taking away social media and cell phones and everything else out of the equation. Like, why are you choke slamming some chick, dude? Like, that is not super heroic. You got Chris Evans dressing like Captain America and going into children's hospitals to help sick kids, and then you got the Flash over here freaking choke slamming chicks. It's like, what is going on? I don't know. I don't know what you do in this situation. I don't even know why you bring up the Flash. Man, how long have we been talking about the Flash? Like, look, if he does not get cast as the Flash in this movie, who's to say what it's because of? Because this movie's been in development for like 5 years, and nothing's changed. Nothing has moved forward. You know, they've had directors and writers, everybody in and out like a revolving door. And now that this come up, people are talking about the Flash again. When, man, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't believed there was gonna be a Flash movie for the past 3 years, anyways. So if they do recast Ezra Miller, who's to say that this is the reason why? Or if he was never going to be the Flash in the first place, and this just gives them an opportunity to say so. But yeah, I think it's funny that, of course, this is the Zack Snyder superhero universe. I'm like, so, I mean, yeah, is it really a big shocker? I don't know.
Yeah, here's the thing, you know, and last time we saw Ezra Miller as the Flash was in the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover.
I didn't know he was in that, Alex.
Yeah, he was in that. Oh, my bad, I didn't mean to spoil that for you, but yeah.
No, all good.
Yeah, he was in that, and but to be honest with you, Jeremy, you didn't miss anything. In my opinion, he provided no value. Like, he was there literally for a comedy sketch. That was really it. And what it signified for me, at least, that WB is thinking about still continually with Ezra Miller as a Flash at that point. Again, I don't condone violence of any kind. And nor do I condone men hitting women of any kind. But again, you know, if they recast Ezra Miller, I can guarantee you it'd probably be because either that situation or they're probably going to scrap the Flash project as a whole. You know, we just don't know. But what do you guys think? You know, jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Let us know how you would have handled it if you were Warner Brothers as well. Let's go ahead and jump into the next question, which comes from a Keith Wells, and he writes, "Hey Alex, Disney is making a Robin Hood live action remake for Disney Plus. Do you think this is a smart move by Disney?" Okay, thank you for your question, Keith. I'm just gonna be honest with you, Keith. I really don't give a damn. I'm sorry. And this is not because I think that they're just going back to the catalog and remaking live action stuff. I actually like some of their recent live action stuff, but personally, I was not a fan of the original animated movie, nor will I probably be a fan of the live action movie. I just watched Aladdin on Disney Plus a couple nights ago, the live action one, and I compared it to the animated one. It's not really that different other than the fact that it's live action. That's really it. Although I really enjoyed the interpretation of Will Smith's Genie. Other than that, it was a good movie for what it was. Jeremy, what do you think about this development for Disney Plus developing a Robin Hood movie?
Are we talking a live action adaptation of the one with the fox in it?
Yep.
Is that what we were talking about?
Yep.
So not a live action, but in the same way that Lion King was a live action.
Exactly.
Dude, did you know about all the thirst for the Fox Robin Hood? Did you know, like, a lot of girls were, like, into that?
Yeah.
Huh. That's something. That's a little sidebar for you guys. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but, like, Thick Thanos, like, there's a whole bunch of girls that are, like, real into the Fox version of Robin Hood. I guess I can kind of relate. I thought Princess Jasmine was pretty hot when I was a kid, so. But that's less weird. What are we talking about?
The live action Robin Hood Fox remake.
Look, here we go. I'm going to give you a list of adaptations that the world does not need any more of. We've hit our quota. We're good. If we want to, learn more about this character, go somewhere else. Okay, we got Sherlock Holmes, Dracula, Frankenstein, Minions, and Robin Hood. We're good, dude. We've seen enough. Thank you very much. Pack it up. Take it home. Robin Hood's a great story. I also feel like King Arthur kind of falls in that same category. It's like, all right, old English literature. We've been there. We've done that. We've done at least 5 of them every single decade. There are probably more bad Robin Hood adaptations at this point than there are actual good ones. I think Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, King of Thieves, what was it called?
I forget.
Whatever.
I've seen that one, though.
Yeah. Prince of Thieves. And it was all right, you know? Then Russell Crowe was in one that was like a prequel to the Robin Hood that we know that I think Ridley Scott directed, and it was a bore. And then there was that one that came out this year with Taron Egerton in it that completely bombed. So, I don't know. I mean, what do they have to lose, really? Like, if it's a matter of getting more content out there, people know the name Robin Hood, have at it, you know? But I agree with you that, like, the live action adaptations that Disney has done, they're all consistently pretty good. They're just also completely pointless.
And again, I'm a fan of Lion King, fan of Aladdin, all the live action remakes, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, all that good stuff. However, I personally do not care. Sorry. What do you guys think? Just dump in the comment section below. Do you think that we should get another live action remake for Disney Plus? I will say though, Disney Plus does need more content, so why not make that one of the things. Let's go ahead and jump to the final question, which comes from a Selena Grapes. Very interesting name and an interesting question. She writes, "Hey Alex, if Disney had not renewed their deal with Sony, what do you think would have happened with Tom Holland's Spider-Man sequel?" Thank you for your question, Selena. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, okay? And I don't know how Jeremy feels about this, but I'm gonna be honest. If Disney did not renew their deal with Sony, contractually, they're not obligated. Sony cannot mention all the stuff that Tom Holland had done in all the previous films that had to do with Iron Man, the Avengers, none of that. So what would Spider-Man 3 would look like? I'll tell you what it would look like. They would have rebooted Spider-Man. Got rid of him. This is about money. You cannot continue a story that involved the Avengers of some kind and think that it's just going to be good. You can't. Unless they did some pseudo multiverse thing with Tom Holland, I don't really see it gelling well. And again, I've said that I don't care how many meetings that Tom Holland has had with Bob Iger, Alan Horn, and the people at Sony. There was nothing that Tom Holland could have said or done to get them to coincide with continuing having Spider-Man in the MCU. I think personally, Spider-Man is better off in the MCU. But let's just say, for argument's sake, they didn't renew the deal. There's a reason why Tom Holland went to Bob Iger and Alan Horn. Because they knew they were going to let go of his ass. They were going to let him go. And also keep this in mind, Tom Holland's biggest payday in any acting movie he's done is Spider-Man. It's a franchise. So at the end of the day, I genuinely believe, and actually talking to some people who are in the industry, they were going to revamp and let him go and recast. And has nothing to do with Tom Holland as a person. I think Tom Holland is the best person for Spider-Man. They just, from a marketing, moving, telling standpoint, they were going to reboot Spider-Man and tell a completely different story, either with Peter Parker, maybe Miles Morales, maybe Ben Reilly. Who knows? We don't know what they were going to do. But Jeremy, what do you think would have happened if they did not renew their deal with Sony?
This is a cool what-if scenario. I like this question a lot. I like all these questions. I appreciate you guys hooking us up with interesting stuff to talk about. But this one in particular, it got me kind of just trying to extrapolate what is Disney Marvel from what was Sony Marvel. And when you said they can't reference anything that happened in previous movies, real quick before I get started, what about the Vulture? Is the Vulture allowed to exist in the Sony movies?
So they own the Vulture, yes. But say for instance, they can't say that the Vulture used to work for Tony Stark.
Right. Okay. Sure. All right. So going under those kind of guidelines, I think that without Marvel, Sony would lean heavily into all of Spider-Man's supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
This way they can get him tangled up in that metaphorical web so that he's so connected to the rest of the Spider-Verse that Sony's still able to leverage him. Like, hey, look, we've got the Sinister Six over here. We've got Venom over here. I think their immediate plan would be to try to get Tom Hardy and Tom Holland into a movie together, because Venom made buku bucks at the box office. People tended to like it, I think, for the most part, even though critics weren't necessarily wild about it. I didn't love it. But
that movie's trash.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, we're on the same page. If it were me, and this is something that's been bandied around on the internet for quite a while, so I'm not going to take full credit for the wanting to have Kraven the Hunter in it, but I would use J. Jonah Jameson as the kickoff point. He's got this kind of Alex Jones-esque conspiracy talk show, and he's constantly talking about what a menace and how bad Spider-Man is.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, we get this like Russian terrorist guy who is Kraven the Hunter, who has decided that he's going to go into Queens and he's going to hunt down Spider-Man. So now, instead of him being far from home or it being like a globe-trotting thing, I'm thinking more of like a Bourne franchise, like the Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne Ultimatum or whatever, where Kraven is stalking or hunting Peter through Queens, where Spider-Man's got like the home court advantage. In this version, Kraven isn't like against guns and weapons and stuff. He's like a munitions expert, and he's using all of the tools at his disposal as a way to bring down Spider-Man. But then at some point, he's going to realize that Spider-Man is not the person that he had been led to believe that he was, and that J. Jonah Jameson is essentially like using propaganda against him. So I think you could have some like really cool, almost Winter Soldier type potential and really scale it down, leave out the entire rest of the universe, and just really focus in on J. Jonah Jameson creating a narrative that society, creating the narrative that Spider-Man is bad, so everybody in society is starting to turn on him. And now we've got this person who's, in a way, heroic because he's going to do what he believes to be like a good thing, only when he realizes he's basically just been a tool that's being used to go after somebody who's just an innocent kid. I think there's a lot of cool storytelling potential there.
And that's actually a really good narrative. I never really thought about that, but yeah, I would love to see Kraven hunt Spider-Man like in the comic book The Last Hunt. That would be dope, But what do you guys think? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts about what would have happened if Disney didn't renew their deal with with Sony. But thank you guys so much for watching this jam-packed episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates every time we're releasing an episode here on our channel. Jeremy, where can we find you on social media?
Jeremy B. Terrible on Twitter and Instagram, Jeremy G. Branch on Facebook, and check out Movies Are Terrible on YouTube for movie reviews, the Movie Monsters series where I cover some of horror's most iconic bad guys, and some other stuff. Yeah. Awesome.
And you know where to find us, guys, here, right here on YouTube at Momentum Media, where we do Ask Alex every Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, you have a blessed day. We'll be right back.